All right, welcome everyone to our poster development webinar.
On the line are your two presenters today. This is Abby Beissinger, and I'm the CAP coordinator.
My name is Laura Cisneros. I coordinate two of the NRCA programs, the Conservation Training Partnerships program, so participants from that program are on the call today. And then I also coordinate a teacher program, but those participants don't do a conservation project like these two programs do, so they are not joining us today. We both are faculty at UConn in the Natural Resources and the Environment Department. And then the NRCA is also a partnership among CLEAR, which is the Center for Land Use in Education and Research, and CEASE, the Center for Environmental Science and Engineering. So we're going to start off with some details on the conferences that you guys will be presenting at and a little bit of information about those poster templates that we sent you in email. They also are on our website. But the bulk of our webinar will be on 5 poster tips to making your poster stand out. And then we'll have some time at the end for questions, but please feel free to just fire away with your questions throughout this talk, and do so again by typing it in that little chat box.
So for our CAP program, you'll be presenting your poster at the Connecticut Conference on Natural Resources, which is here at the UConn Stores campus, so you all get to return back and see each other again. And that will happen on March 12th, 2018. And that is a Monday. So how it will work is you'll have your posters, and we'll have them either affixed to a bulletin board, as you see here, or also you might be against a wall. And you will present your work in front of different people who you'll be able to describe your project to them and have a little conversation with them. We see a question from Tori, which is how will you receive the poster? So we'll go into this in more detail, but Laura and I will have all of your posters printed, and we're covering the cost of your poster to have it printed. And you will receive your poster that day when you arrive to UConn. We'll hand it to you, and you'll put it up.
Great. And then our CTP participants will be attending the Connecticut Land Conservation Conference. This is a conference that happens every year at Wesleyan University in Middletown. This is on March 17th, so the Saturday after CCNR. This is a great conference where there's land trust members, conservation commission members, folks from a variety of conservation organizations. So it's going to be a similar venue like CCNR, where there's a poster session, and folks will be mingling and learning more about your projects. And this is the first time that we'll be attending this conference at doing a poster session, so we're really excited for bringing this aspect to this conference. Also, I wanted to remind everyone that if you're a CTP participant and you're unable to make this conference, we will open up CCNR for you as well. So the goal for this whole program is to get you all here with your smiling faces, ready to share your work to folks that come from throughout the state that are conservation volunteers to conservation experts or professionals.
So now we're going to go over the poster templates that you have received, and they're a little bit different from whether it be CTP or CAP.
So this is the CTP poster templates that I've prepared and emailed. I'll email these again to you all, but there's 2 versions that you can pick from. You can pick either the basic poster template, which is smaller in size, or you can go ahead and pick the expanded version, which is similar to the CAP version. And something I wanted to point out is that in these poster templates, there's a little sidebar with detailed instructions, tips, same with the information that's in these sections. We're going to be going through this throughout this presentation, but that information's there as a reminder. Once you're done making your poster, you can delete the sidebar, but I really encourage you to read it. Something that you'll also notice is that we have some icons and logos. We'd like you to keep those on the poster. You can move them around. You can change up this color scheme. We'll get into all of that, but we'd like these logos to stay on here and these icons. And you can add your own logos as well for your community partners organization or your organization.
Before we get into the next template, we do have a question, which is what is the poster size? And it depends on the poster that you're using. For CAP, it's 48 inches by 36 inches, so they're very large.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same for the expanded version for CTP. And then the basic version, I'm blanking on the exact dimensions. It's like 3 by 2 feet or something. I'll have to get back to you on that size. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Sure. So this is the CAP poster template that you've received. And you can tell there's a big difference between the CAP poster template and the CTP poster template. So for the CTP program, it's a much shorter program, and those templates are provided to really be able to insert that information right away. And so you don't need to spend that much time customizing it. For CAP, we really do want to focus on you really making it personalized, and so you can see that it's a little bit more of a bare bones model. You'll also see similar these instructions, and again, we encourage you to read them. There's a lot of good information there for you to look at.
Yeah, and we have another question from Lori Doss. She's asking if the poster is using PowerPoint as the main program to create this, and yep, it's basically a glorified PowerPoint slide. And then we're able to print these on large poster paper, which the NRCA will be printing and covering the cost for those and having them ready for you at the conference.
Right. And the reason why we use PowerPoint is because boxes are much easier to move around, whereas if you created it in Microsoft Word or something like that, it would be much more challenging.
All right. So the bulk of today is going to be spent on these 5 tips to make an eye-catching, effective poster with ease. So that's what we're hoping for. Yep.
And the question from Tori, can you use Google Slides? I know many of you use Google programs in your schools and might not have access to PowerPoint. Google Slides is essentially the exact same program, and we can even download it as a Google Slide and into PowerPoint. So you might receive our edits in PowerPoint. But yeah, feel free to use Google Slides instead.
So the only thing we need to be careful is that formatting. So before printing, make sure that formatting is as you want it. So, okay. All right, tip 1, personalizing your poster. Disclaimer. Okay, so we are going to be showing you a lot of really cool posters. These are from our past students. They all had really great projects, and we'll be highlighting some really great stuff that they did on their posters, but we may also be showing some stuff that they could have improved on. This is not in any way a criticism of that project or that student, so we just wanted to put that out there. But we can always, even me and Abby's posters, we can always improve on them. So, all right, personalizing your poster to making it stand out. Why are we covering this first? Well, science communication is really important, and you want your message heard, so you need to captivate your audience. You also want to tell your story of your project, and you need to tailor the poster template we provided you to do this best. So, hearing your message heard, I'm going to show you 2 posters quickly, and I want you to respond in the chat box. Say which one you want to learn more about and why. The first one will be number 1, so write number 1, or the second one will be number 2, so write number 2. Ready? Go. This is number 1. This is number 2. Which one did you want to learn more about? 2. We got a 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. Why? Why did you guys like number 2? More colorful? Okay. Any other? What about number 2 was so captivating? That was quick. Do I need to go back? I don't need to go back. Okay. All right. So number 2 was more colorful, had more graphics, had more pictures. So we're going to be talking about how you can tailor your sections. Right now we gave you some boring old templates, and we want you to make it personal, tailor those sections, change up the color scheme. We wanted to give you some advice on font size and type and graphics. So that's what we're going to dive into. So first, tailoring your sections. So right now here's the CTP expanded one. This is basically like the CAP one as well. You'll notice you have an introduction section, a methods section, a results and conclusion section. But this is set up for if you had a basic research project. And many of you have these general conservation projects. You don't have to follow the methods, results, etc. format. And we really encourage you to think outside of the box how you want to change up these labels and move your sections around. So we're going to show you some examples. So this student was working with a land trust, and he was creating an interactive map that would go on their social media, on their websites of their land trust properties. And someone could go onto that interactive map and really dive in and learn what it's like to explore those land trust properties without doing so. And the hope was that this would get people out into these local properties that they were unaware that were there. So he really changed up the setup for this poster. He kept his basic introduction section and had some subheaders, as you'll notice, but he walked us through the process of how he made this interactive map. Whoops, I went too fast. So he walked us through step by step how he made this. Until he came to the end, he didn't have a standard conclusion section. He talked about the final product and then future direction. So this is a great example. So he had a beginning, middle, and end. If you have 2 parts to your project, which many of you do, another way you can set up your poster is by, again, having a common beginning. And you'll notice here, this student completely changed up the labels. What isn't called introduction. She is talking about the big issue, why we should care about this work, and she titled it, What are Invasive Plants? Because invasive plants are a big issue right now. She had 2 parts to her project, a workshop and a brochure, so her methods were changed into 2 different sections. And then she ended with the importance of her work. So this is the end. So this is another example. And so now we're going to do a demo. And I am going to go to the CTP one, poster template, which is the same as CAP, and show you how you can start to begin to modify this to tailor it for your project. So first of all, I've made headers and text boxes for this poster template, and what you need to do is first ungroup it. So what I did was I just clicked on that section, I went to Format, and then I went to Ungroup. Then you can begin to type your new header. Beautiful new header, right? I think it's good, it works. So you can basically do that. And then when you want to start moving things around, if you need a section that needs more space, you can expand this, you can widen it, you can, if you need to, you can click them both and hit the arrow to move it around. And so I won't go too much into that, but basically this is free for you guys to do whatever you want. Start giving it new headers and start moving text boxes around and just make this your own. Oh, Gail has a question. The template you guys gave us doesn't include an abstract. Should we include it? Oh, that's a great point. We were going to bring that up. So we're going to go back to this. So Abby, did you want to?
Sure. So for some of, for previous years of posters, we've had students include an abstract. But what we found is that generally provides too much text on the poster, and it's a little bit more informative if, you know, it really isn't needed. So for the templates that we created this year, we don't have an abstract and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So don't worry about the abstract. You gain space that way. All right. So we already covered this. Let's move on. All right, color scheme. So for the color scheme, this is very important. Right now we gave you plain white templates with black writing, which can be effective, but you want something eye-catching. Oh, we got a new someone who joined us. Whoever joined us, feel free to mute yourself at the top, and we're using this chat box to write questions that you may have, and feel free to fire away with your questions too at any point. All right, so whatever color scheme you pick, you want high contrast between your background and your font colors, but you need to be careful. You can have a little too much fun and get carried away, and then things can be very difficult to read. So I'm going to show you an example. So this student had a project that dealt with water, so she chose a blue background, which was great and fantastic, but she left the text as black, and as you can see, it's a little difficult to read. So when you're picking a color, if you pick a dark background, you need to pick some either light writing, or you need a light background with dark writing. If you do the former, a dark background with a light writing, that could also potentially backfire. This is another really great project and a really fun poster to display the work, but the writing can be a little difficult to read once it's printed. So if you want to go with a dark background, the best thing that I recommend is changing your text boxes so that they have a light background, and this is foolproof, you can read that, but it's still visually interesting. Finally, if you want to stick with that white background, I recommend that you still do some coloration on your poster with headers, like the student did, and you can change up your figure legend boxes. Just mix in some color and mix in a lot of pictures and a lot of graphics. So I'm going to do a little quick demo to show you how you can do that. So we're going to go back to our template, and what color background do we want for this template? What do you guys think? Any suggestions? If not, I'll go ahead and pick my own. All right. So to change the background, what you need to do is you right-click on the background, you go to Format Background, and then you'll see, oh, purple. Thank you, Lori. Good suggestion. You'll see this format box pop out, and you want to make sure that you have solid fill clicked. If you have any sort of graphics that pop up in your PowerPoint, I'll give you an example. If I go to Design and I click this one, we've got a crazy background, and you don't want all those graphics showing. All you have to do is click Hide Background Graphics. But for now, I'm going to undo all this because it messed up the font. So you click Solid Fill, and then you can choose your color. We'll go with purple. Beautiful, but now it's a little, oh, Lillian, sorry. Thank you, Lillian. Great purple suggestion. But now you can see it's a little difficult to read this writing. So something that I suggest is clicking on your text box. So you've clicked on it. Go to Format. Go to Color Fill. And you can pick a lighter shade. Maybe we'll do like a light gray. To give it a really polished look, you might want to put an outline around it. So you can then go to, clicked your text box, you click your outline, and now you've got a nice polished look. And you can do that with all of these headers. So now this blue is looking a little crazy with it, so we can change it maybe, let's say, to a darker gray. And now the writing we can't read, so we'll highlight that box. We'll go up to home. We'll go back to font, and we'll change that to a black color. So that's just generally how you start changing the colors. On the CTP one, feel free, this is a bar right here that you can take out. You can change this color. So you can click it, go to Format, and then again, pick a new fill color that you'd like to do. Let's do gray. So just feel free to play around with this. All right. Font size and type. Couple rules. First, always use sans serif font. All our templates are in Arial font right now. You can use Calibri, you can use Helvetica. Sans serif font is like this font right here that we're showing. Do not use serif font. Serif font is like Times Roman or Cambria. It's got little inflections on the end of the letters, which is great for reading a book, but terrible for presentations because the words blend together. So let me show you an example. This is our poster template. Beautiful Arial font. And this is Times Roman. So if you look at this, it may look okay for you, but if you keep staring at it, the words blend together. It's very difficult to read. So you really want to stay away from that. Don't do it. Okay. You need font size that's larger than 24 font, except if you have references or acknowledgments. In the references or acknowledgments section, you can have smaller font because that's not as important. Everything else, we recommend really 28 point and above, but don't go below 24. And then finally, make sure your font type and size is consistent throughout the poster. What I mean by that is, oh, sorry, we got another question. Lori asked if this presentation is going to be on the website so we can refer back to it as needed. Yes, we are recording it right now and we'll make that link available to you. So right now, what I mean by consistent font size and font type throughout, right now this whole template is Arial. And I would encourage you to use one font type throughout the whole presentation. But you may want to change up the font size. So for example, these headers right now are 48 point fonts, and then the actual text sections are 32, and then the figure legends are 24. So that's what I mean about consistent. If you change the size of one header, make sure all the other headers are the same font type and same font size. Same with the sections. So as you can see, if you don't do that, it can get a little crazy and doesn't look as professional. Same with our text boxes. We want everything to be consistent, so we want everything lined up, and I am going to show you how to do that right now. So this is what we want to avoid. So we're going to go to the template that I need to fix up. So right now you can see it's not beautiful. And what you can do is right now all these sections I've grouped the header with the text box. So what I'm going to quickly do is I've selected all of them. I'm going to go to Format. I'm going to go to Group, and I'm going to ungroup them so that I can work on each header and section separately. Then you can click all your headers, and you can notice right now some of them are Arial font and some of them are this different font that I've used. So what we want to do is I've clicked them all. I'm going to go back to Home. I'm going to make sure that they're all the same font size. So right now they're not. As you can see, it's got a 40 plus. So let's make them all 48. So now they're all the same size. I'm going to make sure that we're using only one type of Arial or one type of font. So I'm going to select Arial, and you'll notice that some are all caps and some are not. So these little details matter. In the end, you can, so what I just did is you can go to font, you can unclick the all caps so that they're all back to normal. These details will really make an impact on if people will come and read your message, your story. So these details matter. So, and then the last thing I wanted to show you is how to align your figures. So once you get pictures in here, what you can do is you can select your photos, go to Format, go to Align, and you can align it how you'd like. So maybe we want to align it by hitting middle, and now they're aligned. Once you have them aligned, you can hit Group, and now you have them grouped. And then you can start aligning other things like your header, your text box, and your graphics and your figure legend by selecting them all, going to Align, and hitting Center. And that's really how you're going to start to get more of a polished look for your poster. All right. Finally, graphics. The more graphics, the better. So this student had a survey for their project, and it was a really great project. She had a lot of data. She wasn't sure how to display it. So she used tables. And she has all the information here, but to improve on this would be to provide a lot of graphics, a lot of graphs, a lot of figures. So what we really want to aim for is something like this, where we are showing maps and graphs and photos of you out in the field, photos of your study organism, maybe photos of your products that you make. This is the goal. This is what's going to really attract someone over to learn more about your project.